Hello! Welcome to a brand new LVLS Plays series for Halloween, where I'm just going to play a bunch of my favorite games that just capture the essence of October. And what better place to start than with my favorite of the Castlevania games, Aria of Sorrow, for the Game Boy Advance, presented here via the Castlevania Advance Collection. And I'm recording this in late September. Where I live gets this lovely heat wave the last week or so that goes into the first week of fall. It's really annoying, so I apologize for the air conditioner. But hopefully between my voice and the game audio, that will keep things on the quiet side. Here's a whole bunch of plot I'm just totally not even talking about. But I will get into it in a little bit more detail once we're actually playing the game. This is the best Game Boy Advance game, in my opinion. Considerably. And if you know my feelings on Castlevania, which I have done a video on it, and they haven't changed that much since I did that video, you will not be surprised that out of all of the Castlevania games, of which there are many, and there are many good ones, I think Aria of Sorrow is the one that feels the best. Has the right size of level design and enough variance. Has a really cool gameplay mechanic with the soul system. And it's just a great time. It's just a great time. Plus, the art design is fantastic. It doesn't really feel like the game itself is compromised in ways beyond limitations of the hardware. The DS games all suffer that to different degrees, where it just felt like they ran out of time in one way or another. But Aria of Sorrow feels like a complete game outside of a glitch or two here and there. Yeah, I'm kind of speed running this text because I've seen this a gazillion times. Alright, so you saw the plot and all that in the intro. So, Soma Cruz is a foreign exchange student who ends up visiting his friend Mina, who is currently unconscious here. In that visit, suddenly a mysterious castle emerges from the rare eclipse, and Soma and Mina are brought to Castlevania without Dracula, as Dracula has been truly defeated in 1999. But why is Soma here? That is the question. Why can he absorb souls? That is the question. Why is this not just straight up Alucard? Well, it is, but he's pretending to be someone else, so Alucard is still around. So in Advanced Collection, we have the ability to set ourselves up with the map on select and menu on start, as well as hitting L2 for a bunch of other options. You can quick save at any point. We can slap different wallpapers on, but they're all kind of generic across the system. We'll go ahead and use type A. We'll use C. C's got some mood to it. Screen settings, I have it at pixel perfect currently. I have high quality sound on, so that should sound good for you. The soul gadget is on, so it'll tell me if a soul has been obtained from a particular monster, which will be helpful. And I don't think the controls are... So, activate ability, Guardian Soul. Yeah, that's kind of what we want. And then, we got a lot of stuff to do in this game. Because I haven't done a 100% run in Aria of Sorrow since I played it 3-4 years ago on the Wii U. Because I bought it there, not thinking that Advanced Collection would be a thing. And I think I got 100% Soul. I don't remember if I got 100% everything else. But at the moment, what we've got is a Winged Skeleton Soul. So that works like a traditional up B sub-weapon. Alucard just dodges that. And then we have a Standard Knife as our current attack. And we're wearing our casual clothes. Soma is the coolest designed hero in the series. I love his sprite. I think it looks really good. He's got a great voice actor. Ayumi Kojima's art was perfect for this. So there's the soul gadget. That will just tell you if you need the soul from this or not, which is very nice. Zombies don't give you a ton of experience. And you can just gather souls from them like nobody's business later on in the game, because they're so weak. But it's not bad to get a little bit of experience. Someone's got short range with the knife, but he'll have plenty of other weapon options as we go deeper into the game. I like that there's two different zombie sprites. There's one with the head back and there's one with the head forward. I think that's a nice touch right off the bat, and the gore that they leave on the ground. Eventually we'll get some more mobility options, including a backdash, a slide, and a jump kick. Money is important in this game. Ooh, we got a cloth tunic. So that is actually a significant increase. That's not a decent drop from a zombie. So while we're here, we haven't quite got the monster list yet. Oh, there it is. I see it at the bottom. So zombie. So how this game works is that every creature has two drops, a standard and a rare drop. You can also see their tolerance and weaknesses. So zombies don't like bladed weapons and they don't like holy, but they have a tolerance to darkness. And they give you 1 experience point, and it tells you in the corner if you've got their soul or not. And there's a 112 different things to get this for. I didn't get perfect soul completion last time because I defeated Legion while its shell was still up last time, so I will be making myself a little bit more conscious of that this go around. The luck stat is a little broken in this game, unfortunately. It's even more broken in Dawn, which is one of its big problems. So it could be a bit of a grind to get stuff, as you've already seen. I've been taking on quite a few of these zombies at this point. So we're going to go ahead and move on. We can't get up there yet because we can't jump high enough. But we just took 2 points less of damage than the first time I got into a bump into a zombie. So that's a definite improvement. Alright, here we are in the second room. We've got bats. And we have picked up our first new weapon, which is a short sword, which gives us a 3-digit increase to our attack, and is going to give us a little bit more range. Not a ton of range, but a little bit more range. And then we also have Merman down here. And our first gray soul. Oh, I got a merman soul right off the bat. That's nice. So now we have our first mobility option, which is a backdash, which is really nice. That will help a lot with those zombie encounters that we have. This way leads to Something we can't do a whole lot with yet, because we don't have the soul that we need to really do what needs to be done here. But we'll explore it since we're here. Nice touch is the skeletons throw their heads too. But this does give us a pendant, which will up our luck very, very tiny amount. And yes, there's hidden items in the walls. This is a Castlevania game after all. But if we continue down this way, there will be a boat and then more boats, and we will eventually get to a point where we can't progress because we don't have the ability to sink in the water. So it's ultimately just nice to get the pendant for an actual accessory. Although, like I said, the luck in this game is a little bit squirrely. But you might get a good level up just dealing with these enemies, because they are definitely stronger enemies than what we were dealing with out here. Soma has magic with that green meter in the top left, and health is his red meter. Took that like a champ. Got to level up. Level ups do not refill your health. And this is a save room. So, save rooms will refill your health and magic and knock out any status effects that you might have. And we just got the bat soul. Not doing too bad. And then there's a cape up here. Let's see if the cape... I think the cape has a defense. So I think I'll take the defense buff for now, since we're not very good on the armor yet. Our secondary attack is quite good. And here's an axe armor. They can throw things high or low, but you can knock the axe out with an attack. And this will be our first boss fight. But let's just see if we can get maybe one more. Alright, we even got the axe from the axe armor. I'm going to go and switch to that, because that is a useful soul to get in this early stage. And I think I'll recharge my magic real quick by just standing around. But you don't have to wait for that. A nice little environmental detail is the bats coming in the background. While this is a Game Boy Advance game and it's not as pretty as Symphony of the Night, it still has nice little touches like this if you look for them. I think Soma is incredibly well animated as well. His coat just really animates well and gives him a nice fluid movement, and he pops really nicely from the backgrounds. So our first boss is Creaking Skull. And that's why I said this is a good soul for this boss, because it hits 4 times for 80 damage if you get really close, and just kind of takes him out real fast. And that basically acts as an instant refill. But we did not get the Creaking Skull boss soul yet, but we will eventually. So we got a map that gives us a bit of an idea of how big this place is. It's much bigger than that, though. And I literally just got good fortune. Going up this way will lead you to a point where you can't get to yet. So we won't do that quite yet. And here's the first soul I recommend spending some time to grind the Peeping Eye, because what the Peeping Eye does will reveal that there's a secret in this wall. So I won't destroy that wall quite yet. and it's going to probably take a while for me to actually get the silly thing. So why don't we pause it, because as much fun as it is, I'm sure, to watch me grind a peeping eye for 30, 40, 50 runs, I'll prevent you from having to endure that, and I'll just turn it back on when I get it. Alright, well, I've killed about probably 40 of these things so far, so I haven't had any luck. But I do want to teach you a technique that I like to use. Jump canceling. So normally when you attack, you have to go through the entire animation. But when you jump, the animation stops when you land. So you can time this to attack twice in rapid succession if you do little short hops. So you can knock out that killing eye a lot faster that way than if I were to walk in, because I wouldn't be able to get that second attack out in time. So this is a little bit less pronounced with the short sword than with some of the heavier swinging weapons. And one of the things I'm going to be doing right off the get-go is going after the best sword in the normal version of the game, because I know where it is and I know how to get it. So my hope is to get that relatively early, and then we can really start having some fun breaking this game very early on. I've killed about another 15. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit by breaking this wall, because then I'll be practically right on top of it. Alright, I don't think the enemy counter tells you how many you've actually killed. But I have smacked around probably a good 111 of them. And I just want to do something else. I've leveled up 4 times. So we'll continue on with the game, and as I get stronger, they'll be easier to deal with, and I'll just get them another way. So we need to come down here to grab this blue soul, the flying armor, to make our way upwards. So now we have our first blue soul, and these are activated by holding the R shoulder button. I guess we could attempt a fish. Let's attempt a fish. We'll attempt 2 fishes. There we go. I'm probably going to be using the axe armor soul for quite a while because it's very good. Alright, we can now head up. Thought it was worth trying one more time. I'm going to go ahead and save to refill my stuff. And let's make our way upwards. I knew that the brewer was up there, so I love the detail of just some of these skeletons and just how they look. I think it's great. So the flying armor slows our descent. If we attempted that jump without it, we wouldn't have made it. And white dragons are being annoying as always. Can potentially get up here, yeah. Parts refill your magic meter in this game. Alright. Skeleton, I gave us our first yellow soul. A strength increase by 4. So that will boost our attack as well. There's greater boosts than that, but that's a really good early game soul to pick up. turned around and then backdash. That's not how you're supposed to do it. There's some decent armor up there, but by the time you actually get the ability to make it up there, I'm not sure if it's really worth it. Yeah, I think that one's just a little bit too far. We'll need a double jump. Great attack. So we got a scarf. I don't know if it's better than anything we currently have. No, it's about the same as the pin. Oh, hang on. The scarf will up our defense by 2. The cape is by 1. We'll go ahead and do that. Since luck doesn't really seem to be on my side today anyway. Did not mean to throw that. Alright, we can get that armor boost, the leather plate. That will boost us up by 3. We have ghosts and zombie soldiers. One of the few enemies that really reminds you that we are actually in the 21st century in this game. Flavia says hi. There's a peeping eye out there just to taunt me some more. The hand grenades is pretty useful. It just has kind of a funny range. I don't think it explodes immediately. Test it out though. It has good power, but it's just not instant, so you kind of have to have the enemy land where you throw it. Zombies are back. Become a lot easier to just kind of weave around when you have the jump kick, but we're not going to get that for a while. Now, there's not much we can do up here other than grab the money that it drops. And the tiny devils are a lot easier to deal with now. Rock armor is not fun to get hit by. We can't do anything about that sword yet. It's just there mocking us. But we can hop into the save room. This way will take us to an item. A little bit too high. Getting a decent amount of potions. large sack of money. There is a shop. We'll be unlocking it after a little bit longer. So 500 bucks is a nice little reserve of cash. And we have finally come across our antagonist, Graham Jones. I think the plot in this game is pretty solid. Probably my favorite in the entire series, to be completely honest. I am kind of zooming through it. So Graham is trying to inherit Dracula's powers. That's why he's here. And he believes himself to be the heir to Dracula. So he is our main antagonist. The jump canceling, you can just kind of see, you just keep moving. If you just time your jumps right with your sword attacks, it just works out really well. There's loot up here in the upper parts. See if we can at least get maybe a better sword for the upcoming boss fight. The ghosts up here are being very annoying. You can hop on these bells. So we've got a mana up here. That's what the red ones are mined up. And we got another level up. You can stand on the bone pillars. Which is useful knowledge to know. So there's some really higher level potions and mines up there. But we can't quite reach them yet. That's just kind of a good way to get back down. Unfortunately, now we have to deal with a whole bunch of bone pillars, but maybe we'll get lucky and one of them will give us a soul. No, but they gave me 50 bucks, so I won't complain. Here's the giant ghost, which gave us a soul right off the get-go. Awfully nice of it. And I'll run up here real fast and see if there's anything good. The Durgas have a cousin, Curly, which should probably be Kali. That is very important for my mission to break the game. So I'll be doing my best to get a hold of her soul when I run into her. Now I have a rapier. The rapier's a little bit better than the short sword by 6 damage points, but does have a slightly different animation. But if you do the jump cancel, it attacks pretty fast. So and there's not much else really here to take note of, so we'll just kind of zoom this way into the save room, and we will go deal with the next boss. The Manticore. It hits pretty hard, but I forgot that these platforms you can jump through. Boss down. Didn't get a soul from the Manticore this time, but it will appear later. Gleeman, everyone's favorite. Serving as great distractions. Pretty sure you can't make that jump at this current point. But we'll head to the next area. I do like that Aria maintained the connecting rooms like Symphony of the Night did. And we are now in the study. This room's got some unique element, or this area, I should say, not just this room. This area has some unique stuff going on with it. That's nowhere else in the game. Okay, we have a bastard sword. That's going to be a little bit more damage and a little bit longer range, but it's a little slower. But if you cancel the animation, it's not really going to be a big problem. And we'll have to head back the other direction at a later time. Have our first Uncurse potion. That's one of the statuses in this game. There's 3: Curse, Stone, and Poison. Oh great, we got the Evil Butcher souls right off the get-go. That was a really bad throw on my part. So here's one of the unique things in this area is this push box. You can't push a box really anywhere else that I remember. But I don't know if I can even get the thing that's up here. Yes, I can, I think. Maybe. We'll see. No, not quite. We'll have to come back when we have our double jump. Ectoplasms in this game can curse you, so you don't want to touch them if you can avoid it. A curse basically eats your magic, if my memory is correct. Here, we'll go ahead and have that happen. Yep, that's what it does. And here is one of the more interesting enemy names. Cantoblebus. Its cousin is the Gorgon, and it looks just like this. So, do you want your Gorgons to be bulls? Castlevania Aria of Sorrow's got you covered. Alright, since I know this is here, go ahead and claim our first food item, the melon. And then over here is a 100 coin. The nice thing about the ectoplasms, at least, is that they don't take much to knock out. The Cantoblebus can turn you to stone. This is our save point. Excellent shot. I do like that the student witches turn to cats. And now we've run into Yoko. She is the descendant of Sypha from Castlevania III Dracula's Curse. And in case it wasn't apparent that Alucardo was Alucard, Yoko basically tells you. But we start to get a sense that what's going on with Soma might not be on the up and up. Might not be, quote-unquote, a good thing. But then Yoko gives him a nice little pep talk about it's how you use it, not necessarily what it is. But she's here with Alucard and someone we haven't met yet to investigate the castle. There's the stone effect in action. That Minotaur really wants to hit me. You can shake your controller really fast to try to get out of the stone mode. These saw blades are indestructible. You can't really do anything about them. We'll go ahead and head to the right, because I think we'll get something that will be helpful with this boss fight. So this is another one of the unique rooms. It only opens when you are facing away from it, but you can just backdash right on in. So that's a nice little perk for those that got the backdash soul earlier. And we have gotten the whip sword. The whip sword has a pretty good range on it, and it does about the same damage as the bastard sword. The downside to the whip sword is that it doesn't cancel animation when you jump, so you will still be stuck in it when you land, unlike a lot of the other weapons in the game. But it has really good range. Alright, so our third boss is the Great Armor. And that's why the range is helpful, because it has a big shield that blocks attacks. But if you can get through it, you'll be able to do some damage. Right. But it hits pretty hard, so you want to not get too close. I think I'm going to switch souls to the soldier soul. That works great with the range situation we've got going on, and is doing more damage than my attacks. Perfect. Great armors will appear later, so that's why I didn't get the soul there. And we have now unlocked the shop as we run into Hammer. Hammer is a soldier who has decided to absolutely bail on the mission that he's on and open up a shop here instead. Ever the opportunist, I guess. But we have now got our double jump soul, which really helps our mobility. And we can do a lot of things that we couldn't do before. Couldn't remember if I had been in that room, but of course I had. The whip sword's nice because of the range, especially at this early part of the game. It kind of makes up for not being able to do the animation cancel. We will need to come back here when we get the ability to slide, because at the moment we can't, and we can't pick up this book, and that book is important. Skip the save room because we're still doing pretty decent on things. We'll just kind of zip through some of these rooms real fast. I love the Arcane in this game. I think they're one of my favorite enemies in terms of just like how they attack and stuff. This is like the only room they're in. Maybe there's like one other one, but they're primarily here. Men are just as obnoxious as always. Alright, we can get into these areas now, but we'll start with this one up here. The heart pendant drops hearts, if I remember correctly. No, it's just heart-shaped pendant that boosts your luck. Just like the pendant. So if you missed it earlier, it's there. And then we'll get this sword, which if my memory's correct, it's a better sword generally, but I think it has a element attached to it, which might make it weaker on some enemies. Let's see. No, it's just a broadsword. So the broadsword is our first overhead swing sword. Which you kind of have to commit to the attack with it. You can't quite jump cancel it the same way. You have to either jump a little bit higher or just get used to the fact that you can't do that neat little trick anymore. got the base lurd, a drop from the butcher. The base lurd is a standard dagger, but it has higher damage, but it's pretty short range. So if you are not too afraid of having things get a little bit close to you, it's not a bad option. We can go back this way. And you can cancel pretty much any attack that does that except the whip sword. So let's see what was this way that we couldn't get to before. It's the hammer. So the hammer is like a broadsword, but it hits really hard. But the animation's even slower than most of the other weapons. So it's probably good in a boss fight where the boss isn't moving super fast. But otherwise it's a bit risky to use. Alright, now that we can double jump, a bit more of the castle is open to us. Primarily this way. And these enemies we dealt with at the very beginning are here to be obnoxious. We're back in the area above the Manticore in the church. So those plants are enemies, they're unes. And we got our first anti-venom, which is what deals with poison. Poison in this game doesn't take your health, but it makes your attack much weaker. And we have come across our first warp room. This will take us back to the beginning of the castle, which is a good thing to do right now because Hammer's now there. And he'll be able to sell us some things, and we can sell some things we don't want to keep. And we can also talk to Mina, too. Mina, now that she is conscious, will heal you in full when you talk to her. So if you need something restocked, if you ran out of magic or something, you can always come over here if a save point isn't nearby. Alright, something of importance in the shop is that the shop doesn't take into account if you have something equipped or not. So if I were to sell that base lurd, I wouldn't have it anymore. It would just be yanked out of my inventory. So you just need to be careful what you sell. If it's something that you want to keep using. Since the bastard sword and the whip sword are effectively the same, I'm going to go ahead and sell that. Sell the broadsword and the hammer. I already have 2 hammers for some reason. I'll sell the rapier. Casual clothes. I think I'm up to the leather plate, so I'll sell 2 of that. I won't sell any of the accessories. So that gives us a nice 4,635 to deal with. The castle map 2 is not something you'll find. So it doesn't hurt to buy that. So what's good to purchase from Hammer? at this early stage. The katana's pretty good. It would boost my attack by 12 points and give me more range. The copper plate would also boost my defense by 8. And I think I could afford both. So that's what I'm going to buy. And the katana is an overhead, but unlike the broadsword, you can cancel it. So I'm going to go ahead, since that is now a thing. I like keeping the whip sword around. I think it's novel. I'll keep the hammer because I think there might be a place for it. The katana is nice, these overhead weapons, because they attack above you as well. And that's really helpful. Here's our first killer doll. The only way the zombie officer is really going to hit you is if you aren't ducking. Or they walk into you while you're ducking. The cestus is another weapon type. It's for punching. But the best thing about the cestus is speed. It doesn't, you don't need to really jump cancel it because it'll just be almost that quick. You can jump cancel it, but you can knock a few attacks in really fast. It's just very short range. There's a couple other punch options in the game. But we're going to kind of zip back through the beginning area and see what we can now get with the double jump. One nice thing is now we can do this instead of having to go the bottom way. Another nice thing about the jump canceling is you just kind of don't lose your stride when you do it. Did I go up this way? I did not. First siren. I don't remember what their song does. But that's why these overhead weapons are helpful, because sirens and harpies both like to stay out of range, but that extra vertical is really helpful. I did see a weapon on my way up here. So I'm going to go ahead and see if that's something I can grab now. Alright, so that's the lance. The lance, spears in general in this game are not good. And the lance is the first one you pick up. They just are kind of awkward. I'll show you what I mean. They have this initial pull-out animation before they actually attack. And again, you can't jump cancel it. So it's not really a great option because it's just slow. And even though they have range, the animation just kind of leaves you stuck. You don't really want to get stuck in this game if you can avoid it. I don't think that's a breakable wall. So let's move to the next section. The dance hall. And we run into a mystery person. who's able to detect our dark power. This is Jay. Jay has lost his memories back in 1999. Very interesting coincidence that it's the year that Dracula was defeated, and that he can read dark power the moment that he sees you. I will just refrain from talking about Jay now, but I think Jay is a fantastic character, and I hope that we can see more from him someday than Aria and Dawn. Alright, so there's quite a bit going on in the dance hall. It's kind of a mess. We can't go under there because we can't slide. Bobby's been very chatty this afternoon, so if she sneaks into the recording, she's just saying hi. She wants me to give her more attention right now. So you'll probably get a nice couple meows right into the microphone because you decided to sit right next to it when I decided to pet her. You want to be a part of the playthrough? What's more annoying than white dragons? How about ones that move and can hit you with their tails? Here's Nemesis. I really like this concept. I think Konami did too because they use it twice. Alright, well, we've had the warp room for the dance hall. Leveled up because they're not hitting me as hard as they were. I just didn't notice. They gave me a drop of clothes. Coffee. Got our second food drop. There's a weapon there that we can't get yet. Let's go ahead and plunge down here. We could go a little ahead, I think, maybe. But we'll follow the actual path that we're supposed to go. And here's where the Creaking Skull hangs out when you're not dealing with them as a boss. So if you didn't get the soul from the boss encounter, you'll just have to come back here and deal with it then. But I'm not going to be doing the complete soul run immediately. I'm going to get what I want and then probably get the 3 souls that I need to get the best ending. Go do the ending and get a particular soul that just makes getting around very convenient. Killer Doll soul. Into our next boss fight. Now there's a spear, which is much like the lance. down that far. Backdashing into the Minotaur is not going to get me any points. So 500 gold here. Should be helpful for later. Hammer Shop does get new items over time as you hit certain story checkpoints. So we'll head back the way we came and continue down. Take a level up. Oh, I forgot he was there. My health is getting pretty low, so hopefully I can get into a save room sooner than later. Be able to grab that until we're done with this room. I am not feeling too good about not using a couple potions. For some reason, the Evil Butchers have a different color scheme here. I think the fog effect made them want to do that just to make sure people could read them. Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to heal. Those golems can be pretty tough. Thankfully, the Glee Men aren't. And the save room is on the right. Another soul from an Evil Butcher. Alright, it finally cooled down. I think enough to turn the AC off. So we have our golem fight. Much bigger than the ones we were dealing with before. I think they call this a giant golem. I don't quite remember. The whip sword's helpful here because of the range. Its fist can block your shorter range attacks. So I'll go ahead and equip that. It'll be a bit weaker. But my plan is to throw grenades at it because the grenades work pretty well. But it likes to vomit up lots of rocks. But it doesn't hit too hard, thankfully, at this stage, at least with me. The nice thing about the grenades, too, is that they don't take as much as the axes do. But they just hit really hard. You have to time them well. Thankfully, when the bosses are huge, it makes it a lot easier. Alright, we got the big golem soul. That doesn't always happen. This is, I think, one of the last bosses that you can run into as a regular encounter. This is an important room for soul collection. That little creature that dug away is a rare creature and is also really annoying to get the soul from, because it keeps doing that. Or it'll be like this. And then it'll run away from you if you don't have enough damage dealing potential quite yet. So I'm not going to deal with it, but it has a pretty good soul in it. For dealing with the shop. So if you've got the patience, that I currently don't, might not hurt to try to get it to spawn, but again, you're going to be dealing with a rare drop creature that only appears like maybe 1 out of 4, 5, 6 times that you enter the room. Could be worse luck than that, honestly. Hey man, get out of here. Let's experiment for a second, because we haven't seen a few of these. The Merman is just a big squirt gun. It works alright. The Evil Butcher throws these knives. They're fast. They're basically the knife soul, or equivalent in the Belmont Alucard lineup. The Bat is Supersonic Waves, which is a close range, but doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Siren casts a spell on enemies. So it's a slow-moving attack, but I don't think it does anything else than that. It might possess or like send something to act a little weird. And the Killer Doll mesmerizes the enemy. So basically it acts as a dummy. And the enemies will, instead of focusing on you, will focus on the doll. And it's cute. It looks like Soma or Mina. It's a nice, cute little touch that they did on this sprite work for that. So we have gained the ability to slide, which means we can now get the high potion. Slides do count as attack, but it's pretty weak and you'll probably trade unless you actually kill the creature that you're sliding into. Go back to our good old axe armor. The Cutall. Is basically a punch with a little bit more range. If you see these pipes or pillars in the way, you're not going to be able to cut through. The Ghost Dancers are a good soul to try to get in the couple rooms they appear in, because they drop a luck booster. I don't quite remember how much luck, but a solid amount for sure. Oh, the Arcane are here too. Arachnine, I guess, would be more appropriate. Waiter skeletons throw curry at you, and you can get a curry-based soul, which is just kind of fun. We have a breakable wall in the ceiling in one of these rooms. I just can't remember which one it's in. But this is the door I think I was looking for. Let's see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. It's a specific place I want to go. It is not here. That will take you back to the first area. The waiter skeleton will give you what I said earlier, the soul to Dro Curry, which I think is just great and really just shows the Castlevania team's sense of humor. the combat knife. Fun fact, this is a low pixel version of the game over screen that I put in this room. Smacked around by the Minotaur. There's at least some goodies up here. I got briefly confused. $200. But I can't get up there yet. Well, actually, I can. That's a lie. I just need you to be out here. So, I'm not going to be able to get up there without the bone pillars, but that's okay. I don't really need a mega mana or whatever they call the mined up deluxe versions. I'm getting so many combat knives. Level up will help with the defense. Just ignore this Minotaur. Nope, I guess I won't. Alright, we'll go this way. Save room. That's convenient. Even though I spammed that killing or peeping eye really early on, you can still see that this game. Oh, great! I'll take the strength doubling boost. You can get up to 16 if my memory's correct. I'm not going to worry about finding all the hidden things for a bit. But now we can get over here where we couldn't before. Because we couldn't slide. Battle Axe. That's a pretty nice drop. That's a really nice drop. It just doesn't have the... You can't get out of it. There it is. We'll have to come back for this. But I really want to hit something hard. I have a weapon that adds like 20-something points to my ability to do so. And here we are at the inner quarters. This is where I have been wanting to get to because this is where the Curlies are. We also have maids here that will just suddenly start kicking you in the face, which I think is great. There's another hidden room that actually has a second hidden room in it. It's one of the only times the game actually does this. Here's a regular witch. And the ninja suit, which the ninja suit is fantastic. Really good pickup at this stage in the game, because it boosts a lot of your stats. And there aren't too many clothes in the game that do that. The witch is, of course, a more advanced student witch. They also have a hat on their cat form after you defeat them. This is a great place to spawn both of those enemies for grinding later. The door to the left is an important room with a white rabbit that will immediately boot us out unless we have the right soul for it. Which we currently do not. Got gym clothes. From our Durga here. And here's one of my favorite bosses in the game, the Headhunter. Which has 3 forms. And one of the best souls in the game. There's a platform here. It's going to potentially throw you off. Headhunter has 3 forms. We're about to get into the Magician form. This form can be a little bit more intimidating because of the magic. Let's go ahead and pull out this battle axe. It's going to hit a little bit harder. And the last form is Lizard Man. Lizard Man can poison you with that, which will reduce our ability to attack well. So I will anti-venom myself. I'll go and take a potion. I'm just kind of in damage rush mode. But being obnoxious now. I don't have any more anti-venom, so we're just going to have to deal with these shenanigans. Yeah, that's the downside to the axe, is you just get stuck in that hit animation for a long time. So let's get back to the katana. And we got the Headhunter Soul. The Headhunter Soul, you collect souls to increase strength. So the more souls you get, the better this soul gets. So by the time you get all the souls in the game, your stats are just astronomically high. For now, I'm going to keep the Minotaur Soul on. But I'll be putting that on post-haste. And here is our Curly. Curly's got a very important soul for me. But I think there's a better one to get to here. Yeah, there's like 2 right here. And Valkyrie's also a really good soul. So if I could get either of these here, I'll basically be set. To like do a lot of stuff in this game. Alright, good news. The Curly Soul didn't take that long. So let's show you what it does. It drains really fast, so we kind of need to have enough mana. but that's what it does. It just turns you into a huge, invincible creature, in this case, Kali, and you just shred things apart, as long as you have the magic. Here's one of my favorite enemies in the game, because they look really funny when you jump with them behind you. But I'm not really dealing the level of damage that I'd like to get that. Alright, I will come back for the Valkyrie Soul because I didn't expect to get the curly one so fast. But we are currently unable to do what we really need to do here, which is going up and around. We need a soul for that. So I'm going to head up from here because I think that's the direction I need to go. To get the soul that I need. And there's a bunch of Valkyries up here, which is very convenient. Ooh, the disc armor is a fantastic soul to get. Just have to see if that works out for me or not. Some of my favorite effects in the game, too. The sparks on the spinning disc are really good. I'll take a level up. I wanted to actually show you what the effect looked like, because jumping over it, you kind of miss it. There's the soul we need to walk on water surfaces with Undine. The thing with disc armors is you kind of have to not get too close, or you're going to get decked by the disc. And here is our first special sword. Grunting. Which you can jump cancel. It's almost as strong as the katana, but it's got a little bit more range, and it has a, I believe, a poison effect? One thing that's fun about this game is that it doesn't really tell you what the weapons do. So I could just equip this, and it just says poison secreting sword, and you just kind of have to assume that there's an attribute for that. Unlike the other souls we've gotten from those jars, for the most part, we have to actually equip Undine to use it. So we'll lose some strength for a little bit. I do like the cloud that they did in this area. I think it's effective. I also really like the tile work here and the windows lighting up with the lightning. But now I have a little less range, but this actually works great on these enemies. I think I'm doing considerably more damage. Okay, I'll take the iron plate. It's a nice drop. I don't think it's... Yeah, it doesn't have the stats on everything else the way the ninja suit does, but it is a little bit more defensive. So if I need the defense, I'll go that route. But we're going to continue forward. Gently, of course. Now we've got imps. Like the really obnoxious imps that take control of you. Not the little devils that we were dealing with earlier. It's a great way to clear a room. Let's go ahead and work back to the beginning, because Mina can heal us up. And we can see if Hammer's got any new goodies. I don't know if I have a whole lot of money for it, but I can sell some of the things I'm not using. So as you talk to Mina throughout the game, she does have different things to say. So we are getting some background on what Mina's family has been doing, and how her temple has been protecting the earth from Dracula's return. Hammer does have a couple different sprites. He has one sitting down, he has one standing up. I think that's kind of nice. I've gotten 3 of these, so let's just sell them all. The whip sword, I like to just hold on to. We'll hold on to hunting for now, and the katana. We don't need the hammer with the battle axe. We don't need to keep that, or that, or that, or that, or that. Ninja suit we're keeping. We can get rid of the copper plate. And I don't really like getting rid of accessories. So let's see what might be new here, if anything. Yeah, so the katana was the last thing before. The katana is now here. We have a war hammer, which is weaker than the battle axe we got as a drop. The S-stock, a trident, a lance, a claymore, a partisan, a gram. Gram's pretty decent. It's a pretty big step up from the katana and runting, but I'm not gonna buy it. The soldier uniform, iron plate, army jacket, steel plate is all new. The crimson cloak is a new item. It's better than what we currently have otherwise, so we'll go ahead and buy that accessory. And onward we go. That wasn't too expensive. So we can now do something that we weren't able to do before. Which is sink. Actually, we can walk on water. We can't sink yet. That's a different soul. There's 2 different water-based souls in this game. But we'll be able to do a little bit more here than we were able to do before. And I like this soul. I think it's kind of a cool thing. I'm trying to remember if there's something that I could actually do in this area. Yeah, there is at least something overhead. There's a merman. And we can get the elven robe, which might make what I just bought irrelevant. If this is actually armor. This is great if you want to boost your magic attacks, which is what the intelligence stat is for. And we can also get the tasty meat, but we can't go down. So that was worth it to get a couple decent pieces of loot. I might go back to the warp point. There's an area we need to get to connects off of something we can now do. There's just gold up there. I'm back here because I'm going to get back into the study so I can get that book. It would also be great to just get the Ghost Dancer's soul, since there's so many of them right here. But it isn't wanting to drop it. It is nice having a weapon with some range to it. But the other reason I want to go this way back to the study is because we will get something that we need. And get to the way to breaking the game open. Which I'm very excited about. I don't know if I'm quite strong enough to get there, but we're gonna do our best. Let's jump in here, get rid of this curse. So by sliding under here, we will get the book. The book will tell us what red soul we need to get the good ending. The demon from Hellfire, so there's a flame demon that we will need to get the soul from. Here's the forbidden area. So close to the destination that I was wanting to go to, because it is literally that area, but I took the wrong way to get there. But that's okay, we needed to come back to get the book. I just need to remember how to get to this section. It would be nice to get a soul out of one of those enemies. Good thing is that hunting is actually a really good weapon at this stage in the game because of its range and the poison damage. It has a pretty good effect on a lot of just natural living enemies, quote unquote. I'm not really sure what the status of the evil butchers are in terms of their liveliness. Alright, I went that way. That will take me back up. Not gonna lie, that's one of my least favorite enemies in the game. They are so annoying. The Silk Robe I don't think is as good as the Elven Robe, if memory serves me correctly. I don't have the Jump Soul on anymore. I was gonna put the strength back on. I really like this part of the game. I think that the ambiance here is really good. Alright, let's warp back to where we were. Which is here. And try to figure out a way to get down in the trenches. Not a bad room to spawn Valkyries and Persephonies. Alright, I'll take the XP. I'll come back for that. Don't have to be doing anything that fancy quite yet. So this should take us to the top floor, which is the last section of the game, but we can't quite get anywhere from here. So it's just kind of like a little in-between room for the time being. And this drops us back at early part of the game, which is not quite what we need to be doing. But I think I see where we need to go to get to where I want to go. Maybe. Run into our good friend, the Peeping Eye, that just does not want to give me its soul. Which, you know, is fine, because I don't really need it quite yet. Oops. I have a tendency to just skip past the soul screen, because I want them to be in the same screen. Alright, this is where we're supposed to go next. Which is still not quite where I want to go. But I wonder if we can... Yeah, I think we can get there from here. The cockatrice can turn you to stone. We're getting to about the 2-hour mark. I'm still having a good time. I'll probably record a little bit longer. I really would like to end this episode once I get what I want. That is going to take a little while, though. Here's the Gorgon. We do have traditional Medusa heads in this game. But no traditional Medusa herself. Wow, how rude. This is one of my favorite tracks in the game, along with the intro area. It just has a nice vibe. Alright. I think I actually need this Gorgon to get... over here. I'm glad I can knock out the imps in one attack now. That's kind of big. They can be pretty obnoxious. And welcome to one of the more interesting areas of the game. This does different stuff depending on where you come in from. So, we are now at the top of the map, and there will be a bunch of different rooms that are all spread out. And this is a pretty good area to get some money. As well as some of the rarer souls in the game. So let's see who's in this first room. It's a dead warrior. Not the most exciting. And a devil. Which I got that soul. The devil is another one of the souls that you need if you want to transform. I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. Pretty cool looking. Not my preferred one though. I'll show you some of the other blue souls in a little bit. So if you'll now see that I've jumped to a completely different room, but if I go back, sometimes it doesn't take you back to the same place. It's a little tricky like that. No dead warriors. Three of them. Yeah, but this area's got some of the best background work, I think. $1,000 is nice. This particular room is bigger than some of the others. So yeah, this is a $2,000 room. I'm counting all the stuff I got out of the... And here is the Mandragora. If you can't kill it in one hit, run away, because it will do a lot of damage otherwise to you if you're anywhere in the proximity of its attack. This is an important space. This is where you can get the Ripper Soul and the Altair Soul, but they're not the ones that you're actually going to really want. It's the only rare gray soul in the game. It's the Kicker Skeleton here. It's pretty immune to my sword here, so we'll go with a little bit of a grunter instrument. Alright, that didn't take too long. So, you're now able to do jump kicks. which is very helpful for mobility. You're able to kick off of candles and enemies and bounce off of them and continue going up, which is really nice. Further down is a post-game surprise that we're not going to get into until we're there. The Rippers are fleamen with knives, and they're very obnoxious. So this is what I was talking about. Like, I just went into a room and then out of a room and ended up in a different area. Here's where some werewolves are. They also appear, I want to say, in the Colosseum. This is a terrible place to be fighting them, though, with this weapon. And I got the black belt. See what that does for me. That gives me a nice strength and constitution boost. Getting a pretty good armor run here. Quite a few werewolves in here. They have a decent soul. They're not my favorite soul in the game. And, you know, you would think with all the transforming that you would eventually get a werewolf and you'd be able to transform into one, but they're not one of the ones that you turn into. But yeah, that's the handy thing about the dropkick soul. It may not do a ton of damage, but it's obnoxious. And you can bounce right back up and continue doing it. Alright, let's go back the way we came in, because I think it's okay, so that takes us back here. Alright, thankfully I've gotten strong enough to knock them both out in one hit. So the mana core now is chilling in here. But we've leveled up quite a bit since that first encounter. Also a decent place to try to get a disc armor. Although I think the best place was that hall that we were in, where we climbed all the way up to the tip top of the castle to get the Undini soul. I don't remember if it's Undini or Undine, so I'm gonna probably interchange it depending on where my brain space is. I accidentally went backwards. This is a new one. There's a reason why I keep double checking. Here's another golem. Golem takes poison like a champ, so we'll just not deal with that right now. And here's another 500. So I probably have gotten close to like 5,000 to 6,000 just wandering around this area. And then down here are more werewolves. And a disc armor. Cool. So the werewolf one, short range, pillar of fire, which is not bad. And this takes us back out into the floating garden, but in an area we haven't quite been to yet. Games really just know where to be in the right place to mess you up the most. Alright, we are now back at the beginning of the floating garden. Just got a nice level up there. Cockatrices can shoot through walls, so watch out for that. We're going to go back through here because I think one of these lefts becomes a door. disc armors are one of the few enemies that can just kind of stop you from being obnoxious. And their discs will still hurt you as long as they are on screen. Another black belt. And lucky with item drops with the werewolves. Here's our manticore friend again. We'll just zip around. So here is the entrance to the clock tower, which I believe will get us our Skola soul that I want to get to the area I've been trying to get to. Graham's here. You can't skip cutscenes, so I'll just kind of jam through it. Graham kind of drops the facade at this point because he feels that you are inconsequential because he is Dracula. But then Soma says I have the power to rule, which is really what Dracula is all about. And that scares him, so he runs away. The clock tower is as annoying as it usually is. It's probably one of my least favorite areas to wander around. There's a bunch of spikes in here that will do a bunch of damage to you, especially if you are in stone state. But the clock tower itself looks good. We now have lightning dolls. Their soul's one of the better ones, I feel, for attack souls. Just totally did not acknowledge that golem down there. And Medusa heads live here, because of course they would. Where else would we put Medusa heads except in a room full of spikes? And they're actually not the weakest things. Hey, lightning soul, fantastic. Right off the bat. Didn't even have to think that hard about it. Covers a big chunk of the room. Here's Yoko again. And up she goes. This is where I need to go. The bomber souls are going to mess me up. But thankfully the lightning soul does a great job of knocking them out of the way. There's two types of Medusa heads in this game. There's, oops, don't want to do that. Okay, we'll just pause for a second. Continue that thought in a moment. That wall breaks. It just is being really rude right now. We'll eat the tasty meat. Put the lightning doll back on. Just put a weapon that is tolerable back on. Okay. Anyway, I was starting to say that there's two types of Medusa heads in this game. There's blue and yellow. Yellow can turn you to stone, as well as be obnoxious. So the bomber soul is a good one. It's like a better grenade. I think it has a bigger range. Right now, I'm just trying to zip through the clock tower because I really don't want to be dealing with too much in here. I want to get what I want and leave. There's the yellow ones. As you might expect, they don't really take too kindly to getting slapped with that soul. I'm sure if I had something with ice, it would probably work pretty well. I think this is an exit. Yeah. I'll head up. Which will take me to the boss. And here's our great armor again. The lightning soul does great damage to it. 241, I think I saw. And this is the room before the boss. So we are almost to one of the iconic bosses and one of the best interpretations of this particular iconic boss in Castlevania history. And I hope I have a good enough weapon to deal with it. If the scythe wasn't a clue, we have run into death. The first form of death is not too bad. The second form I'm a little bit more concerned about. Might be here a tad too early. Or I'm just not using the right weapon. Alright, phase 2. That does a lot of damage. Real fast in this particular form. Let's hook myself up with some magic too. That's doing great. I don't really know how helpful that'll be. How's our headhunter doing? Not quite where I would want it. See if the katana might do a little bit more damage. God, that went fully across the room. Alright, well, I don't have much else. Oh, that melon was great melon. Okay, well, I didn't remember the melon actually being a full heal. But I now have what I need to break the game. What seems like, since we're about 2 hours and 16 minutes, not a bad place to stop. I need to make dinner. Flavia apparently needs me. Yeah, you're gonna put your mouth right into that microphone? Well, I hope that you enjoyed the setup towards me breaking Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. And we'll continue this soon. This was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Take care.